Hello, just a reminder before we get into today's video that the Jaimini Level 1 webinar course starts this Saturday, the 11th of August at 4:30 p.m. London time. Jaimini astrology excels at indicating the concrete experiences of an individual's life. It is simultaneously one of the simplest techniques for chart interpretation in existence and also one of the most accurate once you know how to work with it. That is the purpose of this course, where we will be approaching as many of the 4 sections of the first chapter of Jaimini's Upadesha Sutras as we possibly can, with the remainder to be followed up with on a Level 2 course next year. I want to take time with these sutras and provide many examples so that the techniques become firm for students on this course. If you're interested in this course, you can find information at the link above. Bye now. Natural to the state of human existence is the fact that we tend to fear change. Change to us is representative of death or that final change. But if you think about it, that final change, it liberates us. So too do the small changes and yes, even the big changes that we go through in life. Presently, you're likely getting ready to go through a bit of a shedding process. And, just like a serpent who sheds its skin, if you've ever spent any time around a snake, I know some people have pet snakes, you'll understand that when it sheds its skin, it becomes very irritable. And so there's that whole process that we have to go through of getting rid of all of those things that don't belong. And that's a difficult process. But when we come out the other side, we're stronger, we're more whole, just as when we die, if we are reincarnated, we take on a new form and we approach life in a different way. Now, presently, Mercury has begun its retrograde cycle several days ago, but it's now presently retrograding through Ashlesha Nakshatra. And Ashlesha Nakshatra is very much connected to the concepts of serpents. And as Mercury backtracks through Ashlesha Nakshatra, it's going to close in on a conjunction with Rahu. Rahu, on many levels, is connected itself to the concept of serpent energy. But in addition to that, sometimes it's also connected to the concept of toxins. So over the course of the next several days, and most especially in the days leading up to the solar eclipse on the 11th, you're likely going to find yourself going through a bit of a process of review, reevaluation, taking a look at those things which you feel are toxic to your life and which you feel can really no longer fit, and which you're beginning to recognize on an ever-deepening level that you need to find a method and a manner with which to move yourself on from the influence of these particular energies. Now, this is going to affect each of us in different areas of our chart. If you'd like a little bit of help figuring out the areas of life that it's going to impact you and how best to approach it, please do feel free to schedule an astrological consultation, which are available through the astrological services page above. But as these 2 planets are also in close proximity to the sun, which has now moved on into Magha Nakshatra. Magha Nakshatra is about that concept of moving on. Magha Nakshatra gives the power to leave the body. It gives the power to put the difficulty to one side and focus on where one is needing to take things. But as we move on from that difficulty, we're never meant to do so in a manner that is completely ignoring our inner wisdom. As a matter of fact, we're meant to do quite the opposite. And with Magha Nakshatra, there can occasionally, with high levels of sensitivity being involved in the equation, be the tendency towards pride and be the tendency towards not listening to our higher guidance. And that's something very much that we need to pay attention to. during these coming days. Magha Nakshatra is an Ugra and a Krura Nakshatra, which means it can be intense. I think the real word for it is violent and cruel, but it doesn't necessarily mean being violent. It just means very intense energy. And it's also a Dhatu Nakshatra, which is a mineral nakshatra. It wants to be supported, just as over the coming days, you're likely wanting to be supported in the changes that you're making in order to move onward, right? And it's also wanting to give support. It's wanting to give support to those changes that it's desiring to create. Now, for a good portion of Mercury's transit as it retrogrades, and we're focusing on the retrograde portion of this transit in this video, as Mercury transits retrograde through Ashlesha Nakshatra for a good portion of this, and this particular transit lasts until the 18th, Ketu and Mars are continuing their conjunction as Mars retrogrades back through Shravana Nakshatra. So with Rahu, Mercury, and the Sun all being crammed into one section of the sky, and Ketu and Mars being on the opposite side of the sky, there's a tendency for doubt. There's a tendency to get really focused on a potential that seems to offer you a solution for the path ahead, only to find out that you are overly identifying that with being the be-all and end-all, when really it was just an idea that may have led you closer to the solution that you were looking for. So what to do? Be patient with this process first overall. When that tension begins to rise to the surface, when the irritability is there, and especially if that irritability involves another person, be aware of how you communicate. Reflect on your words before you speak them. Take time to really speak wisely, listen to your higher guidance, and don't just blurt out random stuff in a need to kind of be assertive. Being assertive can be good in this situation, but being assertive with consideration and with wisdom and with understanding. Remember, it's not just your sensitivities which are being affected by this transit. It's also the sensitivities of everyone else. So take it easy. Take it light. And again, if you could use a little bit of help in understanding how this particular transit impacts you, please do not hesitate to schedule an astrological service, which are available through the astrological services page of my website, which is linked above. That's going to do it for this look at Mercury's retrograde transit through Ashlesha Nakshatra between now and the 18th of August, when Mercury stations direct. Until next time, or I should say, actually, I take that back, the 19th of August, when Mercury stations direct. I got the date wrong. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.